Euro 2020 Matchday 1 is in the books. What did we learn? Let's overreact together. So we're just going to go through the matches here one by one and talk about some key points, who's good, who's bad, and what it means for the future of the tournament. First up, we have Italy and Turkey. Italy dominated, winning 3-0. The question is whether it was a Turkey incompetence or Italy's dominance. I lean more towards Italy's dominance. I think Roberto Mancini has them really firing on all cylinders this tournament. They are a legitimate threat to win it all this year. Insigne's constant threat with Spinazzola down that left-hand side is going to be the key for Italy this year. And Immobile was constantly finding himself in good positions to score, and eventually he did find a goal. Turkey looked totally disconnected whenever they had the ball. They could not string together, 5 or 6 passes in a row. I had them as a real contender to win this, but if they can't get some creation going through their midfield, they have no shot at this tournament. The other game in Group A was Wales and Switzerland playing to a 1-1 draw. Wales are very fortunate to get a 1-1 draw here, that's for sure. Wales had an XG of .434, and Switzerland had an XG of 2.18. Wales were completely outclassed. Gareth Bale looked uninterested, looked unfit. This Wales team goes as Gareth Bale goes, and since Bale barely went, that Wales team barely went. They were lucky to get a point, and for some reason, Xherdan Shaqiri, he was solid again. Despite not having a successful domestic campaign, he looked good. He always looks good in a Swiss shirt. Hans Seferovic, their striker, he did not look so good. He had great service. He couldn't finish. It cost Switzerland 2 points right there. Group B, we'll start with Belgium and Russia. Belgium absolutely dominated, winning 3-0. Russia isn't doping anymore, probably, since they got caught and banned from the World Cup. They looked slow, lethargic, and out of it. And Romelu Lukaku continues to be the real deal, along with Yuri Tielemans, who continues his fine form from Leicester. Belgium looked very legitimate. Once they get a real test, maybe against a team like Denmark, we'll see how they fare, but they absolutely dominated Russia. Denmark and Finland winning 1-0. I mean, look, there's not much to say right here. Obviously, we all hope Christian Eriksen's okay. He's in the hospital. As of this morning, as of recording this, he just posted on Instagram that he's feeling better, which is good. It's a bit harsh on Denmark to lose this game, and they only had, apparently, it was reported they had 2 options about continuing this match. A couple of the players, like their captain, Jair and Kasper Schmeichel, were unhappy about the fact that they had to play this match just a few hours after watching Eriksen collapse. It's harsh on them. There's not much to say about this. Obviously, we hope Eriksen's okay, and we hope Denmark can continue to play through this in the next couple games. Up next is Group C, where Austria beat North Macedonia 3-1. Austria performed pretty much exactly how they needed to. David Alaba and Stefan Lainer down that right-hand side is going to be the key for them moving forward, and Marcel Sabitzer is an absolute baller, and I hope Tottenham sign him. And if Marko Arnautovic can be fit enough to start going forward, that's going to be a really big help for Austria. They could be legitimate if they make the knockout round. And good for Goran Pandev scoring a goal. This is North Macedonia's first major tournament in a while, and good for him for getting on the score sheet. Netherlands, Ukraine, a hell of a game right here. We know the talent of this Netherlands team. It's going to be up to whether or not they're going to be able to close out games a lot better than they did this time. Again, maturity and leadership was something we knew they would be lacking without Virgil van Dijk. They were able to step up after blowing this 2-goal lead and have Dumfries win it pretty much at the buzzer. Ukraine will feel harsh done by. Yarmolenko, hell of a goal. Almost the goal of the tournament. We'll get to that later. But their goalkeeper, Bushan, really let them down here. Had a rough game. But the individual brilliance of Ukraine can definitely threaten other teams in this group, and I'm not too concerned about them. I think they will still be able to make it out of this group. Moving on to Group D, where England beat Croatia 1-0. Raheem Sterling took his goal well enough, but his finishing is still a concern for them. The surprise of the match was not Kieran Trippier left back, although that was quite surprising. The real shock for me was Calvin Phillips getting my Man of the Match award. The guy was brilliant from midfield, making those forward runs, doing exactly something that England needed. A midfielder that was able to take control of the game with his passing and his forward runs, and it was beautiful. Harry Kane looked a little bit lost out there. There was confusion between him, Sterling, and Trippier, and even Mason Mount to an extent. There was a lot of overcrowding on that left-hand side for England. That's going to be something they're going to have to solve if they want to be more efficient on the offensive end. For Croatia, that is a toothless offense. They have no firepower going forward. It all relies on their midfield. They're going to struggle to get out of this group, I think, considering how Scotland and Czech Republic looked in the other game. Croatia could be in some trouble here. Speaking of the other two teams in this group, Czech Republic beating Scotland 2-0. Both teams played very well. Obviously, Schick, goal of the season from the halfway line. That is absolutely fantastic. Scotland will feel very unlucky. They played very well. 2-0 is harsh on them, but they're in some trouble right now. They're going to have to get points from Croatia. David Marshall, what are you doing being that far out of your net guy? Just stay in your net. Don't do that. Again, Scotland played well. I don't have too much concern for them, but they're going to have to scrape some points against Croatia and England. Czech Republic, good for them. They looked nice. Two great finishes from Schick was the reason they won this game, though. Group E, starting off with Poland and Slovakia. Poland yet again failing to show up on the big stage. Lewandowski was pretty invisible, but I'm going to give that to the credit of Slovakia. They looked incredibly well organized in defense. Milan Skriniar, easily the man of the match. That dude is a world-class center back. There's absolutely no doubt about it. He looked fantastic. And really, Slovakia can play pretty pressure-free now in terms of needing more points from this group. Poland have all the pressure on them now. The weight of the world is on Lewandowski's shoulders. And considering how they played in this game, I'm not entirely confident that they're going to be able to pull it together. Moving on to Spain and Sweden in what was an exciting 0-0 draw. Let's cut to the chase. Alvaro Morata is bad, and there's no other way to describe it. And I'm sorry, Morata, but you have to score one of those chances, right? The blame is not all on him, but good Lord, you got to be able to score one of those goals. You cost your team 3 points for sure. And Sweden will feel pretty unlucky to not get all 3 points here. Alexander Isak is absolutely a legitimate baller. Even without true support from his teammates, he caused Spain headaches all by himself. Obviously, he had that ball cleared off the goal line that deflected off, I believe it was Alba, onto the post. He was unlucky, but Spain, you got to put away your chances. I believe they finished with 84% possession. It could have been more, honestly. But the question is, was it Spain's bad finishing or was it Sweden's good defending? Because Olsen stood on his head for a couple really nice saves. The question is that, and the answer is probably, I think Spain's finishing was rough. For the love of God, Luis Enrique, start Gerard Moreno. At least he can finish the ball. Moving on to Group F, the group of death, we start out with Hungary and Portugal. Portugal cruised to a 3-0 victory. It took about 87 minutes for them to get there, but they did. They have so many threats from so many places, Fernandes, Ronaldo, and the likes of. Grinding out wins like that is important when it comes to a tournament. Teams like Hungary, especially a team like Hungary, in a group like this, they're going to want to hunker down and play for a draw as much as they can. And I think this win shows a lot of experience and character for Portugal. Coming off, winning the last Euros, it was important that they got off to a good start, and eventually they did. Ronaldo becomes the all-time leader in goals in Euro competition, so good for him. One note for Portugal, I would say, is please start Renato Sanchez. That man is a true baller. He's had his ups and downs in his domestic career, but that guy has the potential to be a true superstar. Play him in more matches, please. And then lastly, France and Germany. France won 1-0. Easily my favorite game of Matchday 1 so far. There's a lot of questions that need to be asked about that German defense. Obviously, Hummel's own goal is the reason France won, but that German defense is far from world class. The back three looks slow. It looked lethargic at times. We saw France have 2 disallowed goals, so it easily could have been a 3-0 game, if not more. Tactically speaking, this was the best matchup for me. It was interesting to watch France's diamond against Germany's 5-3-2 kind of setup with the inverted wingers cutting inside with wingbacks staying out wide. Once Germany was able to realize that if they got their fullbacks forward in the second half more often, it would force France to stretch the diamond a little bit and have to defend wide, which made them uncomfortable. And that's when Germany looked at their best. So in terms of Germany going forward, I'm not too concerned for them. They played well enough. That France team just has so much individual brilliance. Paul Pogba gets my man of the match today, and you know why? It's because of N'Golo Kante next to him. The reason Paul Pogba can put in man of the match performances like that for France, but doesn't do it for Man U, it's because of players like N'Golo Kante and Adrian Rabiot next to him. Paul Pogba was a baller today. It's because he had defensive cover in terms of Kante, and even guys behind him like Raphael Varane, Kimpembe, and Pavard as well. France played almost perfectly, I would say, given the quality that is in that German attack. Germany will be fine going forward. I think they'll be able to scrape points. They'll certainly be able to beat Hungary, and I could see them scraping points against Portugal. Sure, why not? And yeah, that is going to do it for me. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who played the best? Who played the worst? What was your favorite match so far of Match Day 1? We'll be back for more videos in the future, hopefully on Match Day 2 and everything that goes on there. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitch. I stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Football Manager content. And other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!